this gorgeous 5-inch tall egg, about 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. It says joy. Well, first of all, there's that church. So let us rejoice. And then there is joy on the other side. This is Jim Shore. He is a sculptor. He is an award-winning sculptor. He does, all different patterns and vignettes and seasons. And this is just the Easter offering, $29.98. I'm going to say right off the top, if you've ever wanted to have a Jim Shore piece, this is a great entry-level try-me price, and yet you're still getting all of his, expertise, artistry, acumen, interest and inspiration in this piece. Let's start with the church, if you wouldn't mind, Jim. It's gorgeous.
This is a piece that, for one thing, kids love this kind of thing. And this is a piece that becomes very easily part of the family's tradition, part of the family's history. It's one of those pieces that, as the Easter and springtime approach, this comes out, and everybody knows, okay, Easter's right around the corner, and there's more to Easter than just bunnies and eggs. There's a religious aspect of it, and that's one of the reasons that I put this church on here. While there's a lot of whimsy involved with a lot of pieces, this is something that touches my heart, because what this is kind of a rendition of the church that Jan's grandfather built, and that was our family church, for such a long time, and it's something that has always been in our family's heart and in my heart. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to put something on here, I want it to have some meaning, even if the people don't realize it has meaning. It'll make an impression, And I'll tell you, I put a lot of passion into this piece and a lot of love, and I think that sometimes I want to believe that people who are sensitive to this, that they look at a piece like this and they can tune in to the type of passion and love that I put into a piece like this. It's because okay, some of this stuff is whimsical and everything,
right,
but I take everything that I do seriously.
Of course.
And I put a lot of effort in this stuff, and you can see every detail on this: the flowers, the what the church says, and all this rim around the bottom and everything, and then the rose-dwelling elements that go up both sides. Every aspect of that is a project all by itself. It's the placement and the execution. And once again, the painting, if you look closely at the painting, it's got this soft, floating coloration.
Yeah.
And then it's punctuated by these, by the almost pastel, but a little bit stronger than pastel colors of the flowers. And then the church pops out there in relief. It's just, I like this.
I mean, we appreciate that you did this, right? Because of course we just saw a piece with the bunnies, and they were like it's the whimsical piece where they're balancing the eggs, and this is the reason for the season, right? So this is the reason for Easter, grounded in belief, grounded in a foundation in a religion, and so to have this church here, it's so beautiful, and the brown of the roof, but then the blue in the windows, right? So that just some joy, the lovely green ombre of the trees. And so, while Jim is making these, and we've got highs and lows of those, of the curly waves that we're seeing on the bottom, but then also the flowers, the highs and lows, while these are pieces that will be made one after the other, we only have 321 of them, no two will be exactly alike. Like while they are made, in a setting where we're making more than one. Isn't that right, Jim? There's no way that you can actually, if I showed this egg to the other egg, like there may or may not be this little blue right here. It may or may not be there, but they'll,
absolutely.
Right?
That's one of the unique things about these pieces that I make,
right?
Because I want to emphasize the fact that they are all handmade,
right.
And so there's different variations and so forth of the color intensity or the execution a little bit, so because it's not just pumped out of ejection molding machine or
Correct.
something like that.
Right.
It's not a factory atmosphere.
Right.
It's more of a studio atmosphere. You know, it's an artistic endeavor, not an industrial endeavor. And that's the way it starts, and that's the way we do it. And we do it that way because that's the way I want it to be.
Right.
Okay?
And that's the
And
thing. Yeah. I mean, and I love that you said instead of a factory endeavor, it's an artistic endeavor. So he's, you know, Jim is going to make sure that every single one, right, you need to have the wave where it's a little darker blue and then gets a lighter blue. But if, you know, Bob might do it differently than Jane does it, then so you know, they're not going to be exactly alike. I love the idea of that essentially you're giving one of a kind pieces, they'll, you know, with their own little handprint on them, right? So it's $29.98, 3 easy payments of $9.99, free shipping and handling, 5 inches tall. It's enough to be significant, Jim, but also not necessarily overwhelming. So I love, as you said, you know, Easter's coming, you bring the egg out. You bring the church out. It says joy on the other side, which just says, be joyous.
Well, that's what the season is all about.
Right.
Okay. I mean, for one thing, you know, waking up and you got the egg hunt and you color the eggs and you do all that kind of stuff, all the Easter fun stuff, you know, and then you think about the real reason, and the real reason, even though it's based on almost a tragedy, the end product is joy.
Right. The end product is joy. H482600 is your item number. It's $9.99 to get it home. Ships for free. Here we go with the Angel Heavenly Blooms is what this one's called.